Hi everybody, thanks so much for joining us on Tuesdays with Grace. I'm Allegra Erznosnik and I'm here with
Angelique Showman.
And we are so excited to teach you everything we can about TrueCut. It is an amazing cutting system and we want you guys to know about it so that you can have access to it.
I have to tell you this story. So this weekend I was at a quilt retreat. It's my annual quilt retreat with some friends. And I semi-packed up like the night before and I was looking for something and I looked all over for this and I thought I had lost it and left it somewhere and I was devastated.
Yes.
Because this is my go-to cutter now.
You're like, now I guess I'm not cutting anything
Yeah,
there.
it's like I'll never quilt again because I can't find my cutter. But I did, I found it. So.
You know, I actually got Anthony to work here with the comfort cutter.
Oh, really?
We were doing our Halloween costumes and I was sewing him like a raccoon tail. And so I brought over all my stuff and I set the comfort cutter down and he watches me use it and he goes, "What's that? Wait, you get that from work?" And I was like, "The job I've been trying to get you to come apply for a year? Yes." And it was the comfort cutter that got him to come apply and work here for us. So
yeah, this is an amazing tool.
It is. So let's talk about the options that we have. Our most popular ones, our kind of regular ones, if you're not interested in the comfort cutter, and we can go from there.
Alrighty.
Do you have a favorite one, a favorite size, the straight, well, the comfort's your favorite.
Yeah, no,
what's your favorite
45
size?
is my go-to. I use this pretty much for most of my cutting that I do. I recently got the 60, and this has become my power horse. So what had happened is I was trying to square up a really thick quilt. I had two layers of batting. I had, of course, the top, and I put Minky on the back. And this poor thing, because it's only 45, couldn't get through that much. You know, it's not that it wasn't sharp. It's just I had so much material. So I was like, maybe I need to get the 60. So I got the 60, and like butter. Yes. Like it just cut through everything. And so now when anytime I'm squaring up a quilt and cutting off the extras so I get ready to do my binding, this is the one I go to. So these are probably my two favorites. And then always keep it with, you know, the guide system, which we'll talk about shortly. And then I have one of these. And the reason I have this one, and it's just like this, because I don't want to switch back and forth. I'm lazy.
Yes, okay, this is perfect. I have my prototype lilac one that they gave me before we launched the actual lavender ones. And this one is my no ruler guide cutter, and then I keep my other one, my actual lilac one that I got that has the ruler guide on it, so I can just switch back and forth.
And so I do the same thing, but I do it the straight one because one, they're different. Right, so I'm like, okay, guide, other, because you know I've got a few specialty rulers.
Yes.
I love our TrueCut, but you know there's some really neat things out there that kind of help you, you know, square and square, or you know fix your triangle and your half square triangles and stuff like that. So you know they're worth it to me to have that ready to just go. So yeah, those are my three. They're almost always sitting out when I'm working.
Perfect. My go-to is the 45 Comfort. I don't use any other one. And that's because I can't use straight cutters for more than like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So comfort cutters are the only ones that I use, whether it's the 28, the 45, or the 60. But I can cut for over 3 hours with this one pain-free, which is phenomenal. And I know a lot of our customers and quilters love to hear that because sometimes cutting for them is also pretty painful.
Yeah,
and
it's
not
just
fun.
because when you're using like a straight cutter, you tend to do something like this with your finger, where you're either pressing down with your finger or your thumb, or what I call the death grip. You're kind of holding it like this. And yeah, that gets really tiring on the wrists and all that, or on the finger to create enough pressure to cut through your material. But this one, because of the way that you hold it and you just kind of wrap that finger around there, you can keep everything nice and straight. Now you have like the toughest part of your hands. You've got the big muscle here doing the work. You have all the muscles in your hands doing your work. You have the weight of all your bones.
Yes, and I want everyone to notice how loosely your fingers are around that handle
like
too.
This is just to keep it stable.
She's not squeezing.
I mean,
her fingers aren't doing any of the work. They're only keeping the cutter upright, but all that work and pressure is really just from her body weight leaning into it and the palm of her hand.
Yeah, and I tell you, I do feel a difference. You know, like I said, especially cut a couple little cuts here and there, but boy, give me that. This one, give me this big old ruler for strips, you know, and this is what I'm doing over and over and over again. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how I ever lived without it. I had a different brand that was supposed to be more ergonomic in that it was a little bent. You know, it was basically really a straight cutter, but they changed it slightly, and it just didn't feel right when I was cutting. I had a tendency to shove my shoulder out, which for me really hurts.
Yes.
Too many rear end car accidents, that'll kind of get me there. So yeah, I don't know how anybody lives without that. And then one of the things that I found out really recently, and this is probably such a silly little thing.
No, it's so cute. I love telling people about it. I have my name on mine.
I have it on the inside.
Yes, it's so
like, yeah,
cute.
take it. I dare you.
Yes, I'm always like, now this doesn't affect the function of the cutter. It's just a cute little thing, but you can put your name in there. I always say it's so when you go to your quilt guilds and someone tries your comfort cutter and they're like, man, this is great. You can say, I know that's mine because my name is literally in it.
Exactly. All right. Well, we should probably show you, I mean, we talked about our favorite colors, kind of how to use this, but why would I want this little thing on here?
Yeah, let's talk about the differences. So you'll notice we have these two. One has that larger pin on it, and then one has that smaller pin on it that we can see. And you know, here's some examples with our straight cutters too, and another comfort. The differences between these caps, and that's because all of our rulers have something very phenomenal on them. They all have this amazing lip. All of them do. So our squares, all of our rectangles, all of our triangles, they all have this lip on the edge.
If you can see that real well.
Oh, here we go. Let me tip it up for you guys.
Oh yeah, that's a good view.
Yeah, see right there, we got those lips on each side. Now, a lot of people always ask, what are those for? Now, we're gonna go back to these two different pins that we have on our cutters. One of them is larger. It fills up more space of the blade.
And you can kind of see that as well in here.
So what that's gonna do, that's gonna hook onto the lip of the ruler. It's gonna keep the blade on the correct side, and that way it reduces any straying away, any tucking under, and makes your cutting more safe, more precise, and also more fun as well, because you're not stressing about straying away.
I mean, you can't get off of that until you lift up.
Yes.
Yeah. Whereas like this one here, I can easily go like that. In fact, I just hit one of my other rulers today that's an acrylic ruler and took a little chunk out of it.
Yes.
You know, don't have to worry about that with these. Because you can't. I mean, you're going to break something before you do that. So, yeah, I mean, I absolutely adore it. That's why this is my stripper.
Yes, Tammy, I have to agree. These are the best rulers and cutters.
Yeah.
They're the best ones I've ever used. They're the only ones I use now, and I'm pretty sure that's true across most of the employees here, is that they try TrueCut and then they stick with it.
Yeah. Other than those couple specialties that just make certain block types easy to do, these are my go-tos. I have one that's about this size from another brand. It's literally buried at the bottom. And I'm trying to find someone to give it to, but the problem is I don't hate anybody enough to give my own one when I could get them something like this. That's so amazing.
Yes, I mean, they're fantastic presents. They're a great gift for yourself. And when we do live demonstrations, it's like a flood of people come. It's like you're feeding birds at the park, and then all of a sudden they're like, wait, tell me more about it. It's an amazing product. People love it, I love it, and we have an amazing line that really encompasses everything as well. So we've talked about our cutters, we've talked about our rulers.
A little bit,
we have we have 4 rectangle ones now. We have 3 squares and 3 triangles. We have a pretty good variety for things that you can do. As someone who quilts more than I do, what kind of rulers do you prefer to use? Are there ones you use more than others?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, when I've got the big piece of fabric, I'm doing a lot of 2.5-inch strips. I hate doing 2.25-inch binding, so almost always do 2.5-inch binding. This is the one I go to, and I'm going to kind of show you a couple reasons why. If you look, these are 6.5 width. And if you look here, you're going to see there's a difference in coloration between my 1-inch spacers and my 1/2 inches. So it's very easy for me to see when I've got it on the 1/2 inch. So I go, I want 2.5. I know because this is now going to be on the side where I'm cutting, right? So that I just really love about them. I love how light they are and flexible they are.
Me too, yes.
Which part of that is the holes that we have in here. Our rulers are not acrylic. They're plastic that are poured into a mold That's why these holes are here. So they're light, they're flexible, you know, they don't chip, because like we were talking about the acrylic one that I did chip today.
Yes.
I now have to get a new one because my blade keeps getting cut on it.
No.
It's one of my specialties. And until you guys make a replacement for me, I'm stuck with it. But then you can also, so like I'll grab some fabric here. You can also hold your fabric better.
Yes, with the True Grips also, and the holes.
Yeah, so I can not only, True Grips are holding this down and keeping me from sliding, I can also hold the fabric, right? So when I am doing my cuts and I get right in my spot there, again, I'm not gonna go off track, and I can really get a hold of it.
Yes.
I also really like it because, and if you'll hand me a square one, I'm going to show you more with the square
Do a
one.
medium
This is
square,
fine.
the 9.5.
I really also like the holes because I can see my fabric better.
Yes, you can. It's really nice.
So if I'm trying to line something up, and I'll show you some things that I came up with. I can open fabric.
It's because everyone's watching us.
I know, stop watching. No, don't stop watching.
No, don't stop watching.
But I can see, so if I want to fussy cut something, I have better visibility. I don't have that glare, you know,
Yes.
all the way through the ruler. With the square ones, you do have like this solid section here for lining up as well. So you can square up your squares from using kind of that diagonal from corner to corner, which I find super easy as well. And a lot of times when I'm doing rectangles, these are my go-tos. I keep the small one, the 6.5, and the 9.5 with me all times. The 12.5 isn't as portable, so that one is really, that one is like, okay, I'll do it all at Quilt Retreat, and then I'll get home and I'll cut my stuff down. You were talking about rectangle rulers. We have the
Yes.
shorter version of that. This is the 6.5. I do use this one from time to time. Not really my go-to, because usually if I'm doing something rectangular, they're smaller pieces and I like that. But this one, this little 3 by
3 by 18.
Yeah. I just, because it's exactly 3,
Yes.
it just makes things, and it's a little shorter, but it's long enough for those longer pieces that I want to do. It's easy for my tiny little hands, because I don't have adult hands, I got little children hands, to really hold on to.
Yes.
And what'll happen, because I'm messy, you know, that guy will get buried over there with
Yeah.
fabric that I've thrown aside,
All of a
so this
sudden
is
you're
the
just
one that's
like
easier for me to keep out and use.
digging
So
through.
this is my straight edge. And then of course the 3 by 8, which we have over there with the Quilt
Yes.
Perfect set. And we'll talk about that Quilt Perfect set in a second.
And this is our little 3 by 8.
Yeah, this is nice and portable. This has become my quilting ruler.
I love this ruler.
Yeah. So yeah, because again, like I talked about, you can hold those holes, so I can hold it where I want
Yes.
it when I'm using my foot to kind of guide and do that ruler work when I'm
Yes.
quilting. My other one, it's sad now because it doesn't get attention like this one does.
The lips, so usually you wouldn't be able to use a lot of like cutting rulers as quilting rulers, but with the lips on the edge, it gives you just enough height.
Yeah, it's about
That you
quarter of
can
an
use
inch, which
them
is
for
usually the
quilting.
size of that most
Yes.
actual quilting rulers. So that's great as well.
So they're rotary cutting rulers, and they can be quilting rulers if you
Yeah.
really want them to.
Oh yeah, they're just absolutely fabulous. And then of course,
The circle cutter.
I don't do a lot of circles, but when I do,
This is what you want.
this is what you want. This is
one of my favorite TrueCut products because it's fun to use, it's easy to use, and no one likes to cut out circles like using scissors or a rotary
you
cutter.
can't get them, I don't know, circular?
Right? You can't get them perfect, and you're just staring at it like, how much fabric did I waste trying to cut a circle?
Yeah, so it does come with a blade. The whole thing is actually replaceable. Let me use my right hand because I'm very right-handed. So you would just pull the whole thing out, and so when you get replacements, this whole thing goes out there. This part is the safety feature, so that, you know, when you reach into your drawer, you don't accidentally nick yourself, because that's not fun, right? So that whole thing's like that. But when you're ready to cut, you just take that off. I'm going to show you the back of back of the cutter here. So you can see the numbers on this side, but what I want you to see is you've got this little pin here, and this pin is going to be the center point of your circle, right? And then this here is going to tell you what size your circle is going to be, and you're basically cutting from the radius to make that large circle.
I do want to say, the first time I tried this, I assumed that the blue was going to be the center point of your circle. It is not. That's where your blade is. And the center point is the clear knob that Angelique is showing us.
Yeah, and it's got a locking, unlocking mechanism so that you can move that, and you can see that red line that I showed you back here. You can see it on the other side, so you can select the size of your circle that you want, then you turn it back to lock it. This here does have a locking mechanism as well. It's more for storage because you want that ability to push it when you're ready to engage the blade. And then it's super easy. So you're going to use your non-dominant hand. So I'm right-handed. I'm going to use my left hand to press down on that pin. So that's what's going to keep my center in place. And once I get done, I want to talk about these mats.
Yes.
Because when I do this at home on my non-Grace mats, because I just had bought some before I started here, and so I've been suffering through them until I mess them up, it leaves a hole.
You get holes in them?
I do get
never
holes in
seen a
those.
hole left in these
ones,
before.
yeah, that's what I want to kind of talk about. Like, it goes away really fast in comparison. So I basically then going to take my dominant hand and I'm going to press down to engage that blade, and I just go in a circle.
Yes.
And the smoother you stay, the smoother that's going to be. And voila, a perfect circle.
A perfect circle.
Every
Look how easy that
time.
was.
And it's fun.
It is fun. I just want to do circles all the time.
All day long. Gee. Yeah, no, it's so easy. Up from anywhere from a 2-inch circle to 12 and a half. That's a big circle.
That's a big circle. It's
Yeah.
bigger than you think it is.
All right, give me that safety thing so I don't cut myself. So yeah, when you're done, put that on there. It's ready for storing. You can lock this down, especially if you put it in a bag or something like that so it doesn't get caught on anything.
Oh, yeah.
And you're good to take that, and you'll be the envy of your quilt guild.
Yes.
If you have that
Now,
one.
our cutting mats.
Oh, see, can you see the hole? I can't even see where I put that.
I can't.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, maybe right there.
Yeah, but
I've
I
never
can't
seen
even
one
feel
last
it.
more than
Yeah.
longer than a couple hours.
And that's because they're self-healing,
They
right?
are self-healing. I love our cutting mats. They're so fun. I'm kind of clearing them off a little bit so you can see them. This is our medium mat. It is an 18 by 24. Yes, 18 by 24. So this is our medium sized one, and we have two other sizes. We have a 24 by 36, which is the one Angelique's working on, the largest mat we have, and then we have our smaller one, which is an 18 by 24, this cute little guy. Now, I'm imagining your mats slide around a lot at home. Mine slide around a lot. And we have basically like one giant True Grip for our cutting mats. So here is kind of like an older version. I'm gonna have you hold it up and I'll go grab the one that's packaged. Okay, these are the current ones. They're all 24 by 36 inches, and then they have cutting lines so that if you do want to use them with one of the smaller cutting mats, you can cut them down to match the size of the mat. These are phenomenal though. They hold so much.
I can't hardly press it
You
down.
can't, yes. When I demonstrate these live, I lean my
hold that
entire
for you.
body on the table and I put all my weight on it and I just lean on it just to show you guys that it's really not gonna go anywhere. It can hold lots of weight. It's not sliding, definitely not if you're just cutting on it, that's for sure.
Well, let's show them that.
Let's see. Put it under this one. Gonna step down a little bit.
Yeah, don't hurt yourself.
Look at this.
Yeah, that is a lot of grip.
I am pushing, not as hard as I can, but pretty hard, and they're not going anywhere.
That's awesome.
And so they work very fantastic.
Well, and something else that it's like, well, if I'm getting this big old thing and I only have the small mat, what do I do with the rest of it? Well, you can put it underneath your sewing machine. Does your sewing machine sometimes wander a little bit when you're doing stuff? You can put it under there. You can put a piece underneath your foot pedal.
Oh yeah, that's
Mine's
a great idea.
always drifting, and I'm going to tell you a little secret I learned about these as well. My guess is they're silicone.
That's my guess too.
Yeah, I don't know that for 100% sure, but my guess is silicone because if you look right here, can you see that symbol? That symbol's an iron. I can iron on this.
Nice. Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah,
guys?
you can iron on this. You can't cut it, well, because you have to be able to cut it to size. I mean, so you can cut it, but don't cut on it.
It's not self-healing like
It's
the
not
mats are.
self-healing
It's
like
not
the
going to
mats
feel
are.
in.
But one of the things, because it can take up to a certain amount of temperatures, so when I bought a very special one for when I'm doing like certain types of applique, because of the glues and stuff, you actually iron on top of it so you don't get it all over your iron. You can do it with this.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So I don't think that that's how they designed it, but it just makes it that much more versatile.
Yeah,
So
we love
that's a
having
great thing.
multi-purpose products that you can use.
And then I don't have to bring mine from home when I'm here and I'm like, oh, I wish I had that. I just slide one of those from underneath the mats and I go to work.
Yes, they're fantastic. All of our mats are 5-ply and double-sided. So as long as you're not cutting in the exact same spot every single time, those are gonna fill in and you're gonna have your cutting mat for a very long time.
And they're marked a little bit differently. So they're all marked with your inches up to 1/8 of an inch. So very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Precise.
Okay, I was like, oh, I don't know.
You'll also notice the markings are almost all the way to the edge here.
Yes.
So that you don't end up covering your numbers. A lot of mats, they're not, and you end up covering your numbers. So you're actually not getting the full amount of your thing. But we have like the bias markings on the front. We've got some angles, cross grain information as well. And then you have even more angling information on the back. So it just really helps too when you're lining up certain types of patterns that you have these here to kind of create that center point of where you want to figure out, okay, how do I get these pieces together to make what I want to make? So very, very useful. And then because the lines are red, we kind of looked at our rulers here. They contrast with the rulers, making it that much easier to see.
Yes,
because you got the blue against the red opposed to them being the same color.
And you know exactly what you're looking at.
Exactly. So they're wonderful. Let's talk about blades. So with all of our cutters, we do sell all the blades, 28, 45, and 60. But there's also the ability to extend the life of your blades, right?
Yes, and let's talk about that. So we have 2 versions of our rotary blade cutters. We have our linear or our manual sharpener, and we have our electric sharpener right here. And we're gonna have, so Angelique is demonstrating the correct way to sharpen a blade with this one. You never wanna go back and forth. You always wanna start at the end and go all the way through. And then there's sharpening stones on only one side of this. So however many times you run it through on one side, you're gonna rotate that cutter or that sharpener, oh my gosh, and then run it through the exact number of times you do on the other side. That way you get an equal sharpen on both sides of your blade.
And your linear cutter is just, like she said, it's manual, but you don't have to take your blade off. So you can have it right by your cutting station. Oh, I missed one little thread when I was cutting. Let me give it a quick little sharpen, get back to work. So that's one of the things I really like about it. And if you look at the bottom, it's got some grips as well, so it's not really going anywhere.
Yeah, you don't have to hold it while you're trying to
But what if I got a stack of blades I've been collecting?
If you have a stack of blades that you've been collecting, this is what you're gonna want. This is our TrueSharp 2 electric sharpener. It has diamond grit stones on top and on bottom. There we go. It comes with sharpening oil, a cleaning cloth, tweezers, and then it's not battery operated, it's cord operated right there. It can hold any blades that are 28, 45, and 60. There is one technicality though, and it's that the blades do need to have this tri-wing hole in the middle. It can't be just a donut hole. It does have to have this tri-wing in the middle, or else the sharpener can't grab it to spin it around.
Yeah, and really all of you can buy our blades to replace. You can buy, if you have a stack of blades at home already to replace, that's fine, but they do have to have that tri-wing design in order to work well with the cutters in addition to the sharpener. So that's something important to notice.
And because all blades, they're all different. Some are stronger, some are a little bit softer. So there's not an exact time that I can tell you how long to sharpen your blade. So the first time you do it, you're gonna put it in here and you're gonna do a tiny little Sharpie mark on the edge of that bevel edge that you're gonna do. You're gonna put it in there, you're gonna close it, and you're gonna pull up that safety because you don't want that blade flying out while you're sharpening it. And then it only runs while you're holding the button, also for safety reasons. You're gonna start with 30 seconds. You're gonna open it up. If that Sharpie mark is still there, close it, do it another 30 seconds. You don't have to do this every time, but this just gives you a visual, and so you know how long to sharpen your blades next time.
Yes, definitely. Then once you've done that, you can lift with that, use those tweezers that come with it to flip the blade and do it again.
Yes, and here's that kind of little lift Angelique was showing you. Press that, it'll lift the blade up, you get the tweezers in there and pull it right out. Yeah. Super easy peasy. And they're diamond grit stones in the electric sharpener and the manual sharpener, so they'll never have to be replaced. and you can just use it as long as you need to.
And just make sure you clean between uses, because sharpening is taking off a little bit of metal, right?
Yes.
So if you don't clean it, then the next time you go to use it, you've got little tiny pieces of metal that
Yes.
are going to scratch. So you want to clean that up as you go. And I just use a little bit of the oil to clean that up with the cloth, just to get that off of there. Well, we've talked about this. We've talked about how to sharpen. We didn't talk about it, but we noticed it. These ones are magnetic.
Yes, look at this.
I love this. I just love snap right on there. Makes it so easy. One of the other things we should probably talk about is that, you know, these can be right or left-handed.
Yes, super easy. So this one's set up for a right-handed right now. All of our cutters have a quick release on the back of them. So this little notch on the back is called our quick release. When I pull that, look at that, our blade drops, and so does our pin. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna switch everything around. So we're gonna take the blade guard out by sliding it back in and then pulling it out. We're gonna turn it around, and there's a little tiny tab right here that will pop out this portion right here. Now we're just gonna put everything back the other direction though. So we're gonna put this on the other side, slide it in until we hear that click. We're gonna put our blade guard back in and make sure it is out. That way when we put our blade back in, the blade cover is down. And look at that, look how easy it was. Now it's set up for left hand and not right-handed, and that was super easy peasy.
Yeah, so yeah, if you've been like holding off because you're like, I'm left-handed, I don't think I can use this, you definitely can. You definitely
Yes.
can. And then another question that we get quite a bit is, especially with the comfort cutter, can I use this with my other rulers that
Yes.
are not TrueCut?
Absolutely. So every cutter in the package, it has the non-blade guard pin installed, and it comes with the blade guard pin optional in the package with it. So this one, the smaller one that we see here, that's the one you'll use with any other branded rulers that you have. If you're going to pair it with our rulers, then you're going to want to use this one so you can take advantage of that lip on the ruler.
Absolutely. Well, I have a few things to show you.
Show us, yes.
I was playing with the rulers, and I was just trying to come up with some fun things that you can do when you don't have a pattern. And so this one here, if you'll pass me the 6.5 square, what I did is I started with my 6.5 inch square, which is my center part here. And then I took my ruler and I laid this one, nope, the right-handed ruler. I lied. I took the right edge ruler and I kind of started with this, and then all I did was kind of like slide this until I got to the lines on here that give me my 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then use that to cut these out. Right, so I didn't even need a pattern, and then I just simply laid these on each corner. As you can see, I've got that little bit of overlap, right? So which is what I want. And then sewed them, and then when I was done, I took my 9.5, which I may still have over here. Oh, nope, you have it. And I was able to kind of trim this down to my final size, right? So that's a really quick, easy block to do. Like I said, just started with what we had, didn't worry about a pattern, and then I could just make a bunch of those. Sorry, my antlers like to fall off my head. And then I did, we talked about one of my favorites, the 3-incher. And so what I did is I didn't even cut these. I just got some various pieces of fabric that I thought looked nice together, and I cut 3-inch strips. I just used my 3-inch strip to do that. And then I started by just sewing those long strips together. And then once I did that, I believe I used my 9.5 again. Well, where is my 9.5? I lost it. And then, of course, they're going to be a little short now because I've since cut, or maybe I used my 12. But I basically figured out what my width was, right, from doing this, and then used my 12 to get the size that I needed, cut these all into squares, and then just kind of sewed them opposite directions just to kind of create a fun little pattern with that.
Look how cute that is, guys.
So yeah, that's just using a couple really basic cutters. So if you are relatively new to quilting, but you're like, oh, I have to have a pattern, you really don't.
I did my first quilt using our rulers, no pattern. I started super easy. I just used our 6.5 square and I just did 14 by 15, just squares. Super easy peasy, and it's not
I did that
an
with this one.
intimidating place to start.
I
That's
just
for
did
sure.
6.5-inch squares and sewed them together. I just kept, one thing the same and then just kind of alternated that. And then you can kind of just build, and before you know it, you have a really quick quilt put together.
Yeah.
So super, super easy, fun ways. You could also take something like this and then add some of those 3-inch.
Yes, that too.
Strips around that, so you can build a lot with it. So those were just some quick ideas that I had. I also wanted to remind everybody of some of the TrueCut things that we did on Tuesdays with Grace.
Yes.
This month, this November. Turkey's around the corner!
Yay!
But over here I have my cornucopia. So the cornucopia, I also used the right-handed ruler and I used the 3-inch. So I can make a bigger triangle for my quilted piece. So I was able to kind of keep the guide this way.
Yeah, nice.
I would mark until this, and then on the other side, and then that would keep my angles for my cutting. So I just put those two together for that. I also had a little bit of fun with our kite ruler.
I'm using this ruler currently for a project.
Yeah, so the kite ruler gives you 30, 60, and 90-degree angles. So your 90 is here, this would be your 30, this is your 60. I just use this to make the squashes that are in there. I use the rectangle, this big rectangle ruler, to make some corn, and I use the circle cutter to make the pumpkin and the apple. It's just in how I stuffed it and did some hand sewing to kind of pull it to create the thing. So there's a lot that you can do with these. You just have to think about it, be creative, and play. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen?
And don't
right?
be scared, take that leap, and you're going to have a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, and then Sabrina, I'm being attacked by rulers. So Sabrina did a little table runner / hot pad using our Quilt Perfect. So if you'll pass that over to me.
Oh my gosh, I love talking about our Quilt Perfect ruler set. I'm going to give you the feet and the ruler.
Yeah, so she did a quilt as you go method with this. So she started with the one piece. She did some ruler work on that, and I believe it's this one hooks into the edge. That's why it comes with one of our rulers. And this keeps her right here so she could make those perfect lines that she did.
So
here.
there's
no perfect 1/4 inch.
No pulling your machine away from your ruler, no pulling your ruler away from your machine, because they're going to be locked on.
Right.
They use that same technology our cutters and our rulers do.
Yeah, definitely, because if you've ever done any ruler work, it is sometimes easy to, even if you have it against, to have that little hiccup or whatever and kind of pull forward or backwards or something. This is the only thing you've got to worry about is not moving the ruler.
Yeah.
But that's where these come in.
Yes, we love True Grips. True Grips are my favorite thing in this entire world, actually. So here's kind of what they look like outside of the package. This is the sheet. And there's these little circles. And do you want me to put them on here?
Not on this one, but we can put it on. We have
here we go.
Yeah.
So there's these little guys, these little rubber stickers we're seeing all on this ruler. These are our True Grips. And what they do is they reduce any fabric slippage that you get. You want to hand me a scrap, please?
Sure. You can have red.
Oh, perfect. And if you're like me, I have a hard time holding still. And sometimes you get it lined up perfectly and then you move or something. And you have to, let me flip this over. And it slides like that right off your fabric. But with this one, if you notice when I was moving it, it takes your fabric with you. So even if you do slip, it's still gonna stay lined up and you don't have to worry about having to reline it up again. If you're like me though, and you have cats who love to push over all your potted plants, these are fantastic for just like homewares and houseware too, because they keep your pesky little pets from knocking your pets over or anything like that. So they can be used for more than just your rulers
and
too,
you can
which
use
is
them on
amazing.
any ruler. They don't just have to be our rulers.
Yeah, any ruler, they stick to anything.
All right, do we have any questions about our TrueCut? I guess we should talk about the big deal.
We should talk about the big deal. Okay, TrueCut is 25% off for the rest of November.
25% off. That is a great deal.
Yes, and our most popular combo that we have is
I call this the starter set. Like if you haven't gotten into TrueCut, this is the one to
I also call this
start
our
with.
starter set, and that's because it comes with our 24.5-inch by 6.5-inch ruler. You get a package of your True Grips, and then you get the 45mm comfort cutter. So it really is a perfect starter pack to try it out and see if you like TrueCut, if it's for you. This is a perfect product to start with.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because the 45 is going to be, it's the most common size really for doing any kind of quilting and cutting pieces and stuff like that. So it's definitely a good place to start. And I mean, it's already packaged.
Yes.
Put a bow on this, and you're done. Or maybe a little wrapping paper so they can't see what
Yes.
it is.
Yes.
But you know, it's easy. And can you imagine taking this with you with the little handle to your quilt
To your
build?
quilt
Look at
build?
my
Yeah,
TrueCut.
Yes, they're perfect presents. My grandpa doesn't watch it, so I know I can say this on here, but his present this year is going to be some TrueCut.
Nice.
Which I know he's going to love, and they do make fantastic gifts, especially if you do know someone or you're friends with someone who does struggle with joint issues or arthritis or any pain in their hands. The comfort cutter really solves all of that problem.
All right. Well, I think we've really done a great job covering everything. My understanding, it is 25% off through the end of the year. That's what your boss told me.
If that's what my boss said, then that's correct.
Because I double checked with her. So yeah, she said pretty much through the end of the year, 25% off on the TrueCut. Get those orders in soon so you get it in time for the holidays.
For the holidays,
Yeah, 'cause
yes.
Black Friday's this Friday, y'all.
Yes,
We
and if
are
you-
under a month to Christmas.
If you spend over $50, you get free shipping too
Ooh.
until December 2nd, so don't wait.
Yeah, definitely don't want to wait. Free shipping. That really helps save you some time and money.
It does, yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely.
All right. Well, I'm so glad you brought me in to help share my love of TrueCut.
We love having people, let's see, I'm a beginning quilter, so we love having people who quilt more frequently and who are not amateur quilters to really tell you guys about the tips and tricks and what they love about our products, because then you know that they're using them and they love them.
Yeah, and I did see someone had mentioned wanting to see a little bit more with the kite ruler. Me too. It's on my plans for next year on finding some fun projects that we can do with the kite ruler. So I'm still in the brainstorming, you know, what can I do? What fun things can I make with this kite ruler that's, you know, a little bit different. So look forward to that maybe sometime in 2025.
Yes, and you're gonna wanna see Angelique's project over mine, because mine is just straight the kite ruler. There's nothing cool about it, so you're going to want to see Angelique's project, so stay tuned.
Yeah, thanks again for joining us on Tuesdays with Grace, and we hope to see you again soon. Happy holidays.
Thank you, bye.